Tonight, thousands of extra police drafted onto the streets of London to try to prevent a fourth night of riots. Last night saw the worst violence for a generation as the flames destroyed businesses and homes across the capital. For the first time, the clashes spread outside London to other major cities. The Prime Minister's given this warning to the rioters.
You will feel the full force of the law. And if you are old enough to commit these crimes, you are old enough to face the punishments.
Amid the tangled wreckage, there's sharp criticism of the police and the parents whose children are out of control.
It's absolutely disgusting. They are feral rats. What are those parents doing? Those children should be at home. They shouldn't be out here causing mayhem.
Caught on CCTV, the police released the first images of suspected rioters and vowed to track them down. And tonight, officers get ready in case there's more trouble. Also on tonight's programme, after £5 trillion is wiped off global share prices in just 10 days, stock markets start the fight back. And George Alagai in Kenya with a special report on the women and children facing the African famine.
And in sport, the riots in London have forced England's game against the Netherlands at Wembley to be called off. Several Carling Cup fixtures have also been postponed.
Good evening, welcome to the BBC News at 6. Thousands of extra police are being deployed on the streets of London this evening as they try to prevent a repeat of last night's violence. The Prime Minister, who's cut short his holiday, has warned those who left a trail of destruction right across the capital and 4 other cities that they will face the full force of the law. He also announced that Parliament will be recalled on Thursday to discuss the riots. London was hardest hit last night, the worst riots in living memory, according to the police, with buildings destroyed and 1 man shot dead. But for the first time since the trouble began on Saturday, the violence spread outside the capital to Birmingham, Bristol, Liverpool and Nottingham. More on that in a moment, but first our special correspondent Alan Little reports on the London riots.
Even before nightfall they began, the violence striking in its daylight brazenness. This is Hackney in East London. Already it was clear that the police, for all the efforts of those on the ground, were not equal to the task that lay ahead. The escalation was rapid, alarming, and in many places terrifying. In Croydon, a couple of hoses from overwhelmed fire tenders were no match for the rapacious advance of the flames. A photographer captured this desperate leap to safety, the image capturing how suddenly the mayhem came. In the west, chaos descended on leafy Ealing. It brought sudden terror to settled suburban lives. People within minutes in genuinely mortal fear.
They broke a window and started to climb over the bar, looking for the till, breaking everything. I escaped on the back through the corridor and locked myself into the kitchen because it's a fire door, so I thought they can't break that so easily. I could hear them breaking everything, and it was terrifying.
In Clapham, hundreds of youths smashed shop windows and looted. These pictures show how young many of them are, some barely out of childhood, and how much they seem to be enjoying it. They also show a breathtaking sense of impunity. There is nothing there to stop them. Here, a group of rioters pause, apparently to help a young boy, clearly bleeding from a wound to his face. Instead, it's a ruse to quietly rob an injured teenager.
He just took something from his bag.
This morning, London woke to the aftermath. For many, the shock of the night gave way to outrage.
It's absolutely disgusting. They are feral rats. What are those parents doing? Those children should be at home. They shouldn't be out here causing mayhem. I'm absolutely livid, as is everybody else here.
Onilia Giarratano runs a hairdressing salon in Clapham. When her street was overrun suddenly last night, she found herself trapped in her shop. Her windows and mirrors were smashed around her.
We were in complete shock. They were mocking us from outside, saying, look, they look scared.
What do you want from the police from now on?
I want protection. This is what they're here for.
They come in Victoria tonight.
You know, we live in Victoria. They said they're going to hit Victoria tonight. So I'm not secure at my workplace. I'm not secure at my home place. Where is the police? The police station is up there. In Victoria, we have it right behind our building. Will they be there to protect us tonight? They weren't here to protect us last night.
There is a real sense of insecurity on these streets today, but the prevailing mood is a kind of quiet anger, not just with the looters and the rioters, but also with the police for their failure so far to control it. You can feel a rising public demand today for a much more swift, much more robust security crackdown. Alongside that, something more phlegmatic, a keep calm and carry on spirit, as many Londoners rallied to try to clean up their city. The Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, tried to bring that spirit to Clapham today, but the people he met there vented their rage on him, including the hairdresser Onilia Giarratano.
Where were they? At 5 o'clock we knew they were going to hit, and no one was here. I was in the salon when a brick got through the wall, through the window, and no one was here to defend me.
And that is why we are putting many more police on the street.
The Prime Minister, home early from holiday, went to Croydon. As he did so, the Metropolitan Police said their presence in the capital would be nearly tripled tonight, from 6,000 officers to 16,000. David Cameron promised tough action to end the crisis.
I have this very clear message to those people who are responsible for this wrongdoing and criminality. You will feel the full force of the law. And if you are old enough to commit these crimes, you are old enough to face the punishments.
The Labour leader, Ed Miliband, took to the streets too in Peckham. He welcomed police reinforcements.
I think it's right that substantially more police officers are being put on the street, because I think we all know that the situation on the streets needs to be got under control, because the public safety of our citizens, the ability for them to go about their business in a lawful way, is an absolute priority for any government and for any country.
Tonight, police are bracing for the possibility of more. London waits, uneasy and uncertain, its famous landmarks against a new, unsettled cityscape. Alan Little, BBC News, London.
Well, outside London, Birmingham was one of the worst affected cities. Police made more than 130 arrests after a night of violence and have been carrying out raids today. The Chief Constable of West Midlands Police said rioters targeted the city centre out of greed, not anger. Claire Marshall reports now on the night the violence spread beyond the capital.